Hi everyone, it's Luke here from Weekend Tour Pros, and I'm really excited to show you today's video, because in today's video I get to show you what happened when I went and had a golf lesson with Todd Adcock, who's a PGA professional based at the Mark Janes Academy in Tunbridge in Kent. Now, I first came across Todd when he was a guest on the Clubhouse podcast, which is an excellent golf podcast run by my friend Adam. I'll put a link to it in the description below. If you want to listen to a light-hearted golf podcast, check it out. Now, on that podcast, Todd delivered lots of excellent knowledge bombs, and he was just someone I was in awe of when I was listening to him, and it made me do a little bit of research to find out a little bit more. Now, in doing that research, what I learned is, as well as being an excellent amateur golfer and representing and captaining England, which is no mean feat, Todd has gone on to become one of the most well-respected PGA professionals in his area. And one of the reasons for that is he specialises in using equipment such as the V1 Sports BodiTrak pressure mat, along with tools like FlightScope to help him diagnose the flaws in his students' golf game and then help them to get a little bit better. Now, a pressure mat such as the one by V1 Sports is something I've always wanted to use to see if it could help me to diagnose the flaws in my golf game, with the supervision of a golf coach like Todd, then giving me some ideas so that I can improve and bring that handicap down and hopefully get to that magical single figures that I'd love to get down to. Now, what I will say is I was not disappointed when I met Todd. We spoke for about 2 hours in the end, and I make no apologies for the length of this video because Todd just delivers so much knowledge and so much information in those 2 hours that I couldn't condense it down any shorter than the 45 minutes that I've made it. But I'm absolutely convinced if you're someone that suffers from early extension, maybe some posture issues, or maybe you're someone who struggles with that typical out to in path of amateurs and that leads to a slice, I guarantee there'll be something in this video for you to watch, relate to, and a drill that you can take to the driving range and try, because Todd gives lots of really good ideas throughout the video, and you'll see at the end that some results are there for me. We managed to improve my path, improve my posture, and I've noticed some great gains as I've taken that onto the golf course over the last couple of weeks. Before we go and get into the video, I've just got one final ask for you, which is if you're liking what you're seeing, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and what I'd love to hear in the comments below is if you've ever had a golf lesson using a pressure mat such as the one by V1 Sports, or if you've not had one, does watching this video make you want to go and have a go? Let's go and check out the video and find out what happened when I met Todd. Guys, we're here now today with Todd Adcock, and we're at the Tunbridge Golf Centre, and as I touched on in introduction, we're going to do a video with the BodiTrak and a bit of FlightScope here, and hopefully Todd's going to try and improve my golf game, add a little bit of speed to it. So Todd, before we start, I wouldn't mind if you could just tell me a little bit about what we're going to do in the lesson today and a little bit about the BodiTrak as well as a tool.
Yeah, so today what we'll do is kind of go through your goals, go through what you want to achieve from the lesson, what your habits are, tendencies, strike-wise, direction. Then get you hitting a few shots. We'll measure on the BodiTrak pressure mat, just try and get an overview of kind of what's going on and what your problems might be and how we can fix it really. The BodiTrak pressure mat with V1 Sports is a great tool, use it a lot. It's basically what it is it's a mat you stand on, and you'll see it in the video a little bit later when we get it out. But it measures your interaction with the ground. So you'll stand on the mat, and what it's doing is measuring your pressure into the floor. Okay. Now, the important thing as well, which gets a bit misunderstood, pressure and weight are different things. Okay, so think of your weight as the mass of your body. Yep. If I move my mass onto my right foot, my interaction with the ground changes, but my weight changes from my right foot to my left foot. Yep. All right, that's me moving my mass of my body. Weight is our mass plus gravity, if you like. Okay. A pressure mat is measuring your force, or your, let's say you push into the ground. Yep. You'll put more force on that side. So sometimes I'll describe it where you'd imagine if I was sort of Frankenstein going side to side, okay? That's me moving my mass to move my pressure. Yep. Or if I'm an excited puppy waiting for my toy, my mass is staying the same, my pressure and interaction with the ground changes. So that's kind of the best way to think about it, really. I love that analogy, it's really good. Yeah. I think it's really helpful actually. And that bit about kind of standing on one leg, you're absolutely right, because your weight is still the same, you're just putting it all through one leg rather than the other. And I think a lot of people probably all really resonate to that analogy. Yeah, it's really definitely good. And it's how we move. So if we're going to move somewhere, like if I'm going to stand here and I'm going to jump to the side, I'm going to load this foot and push away with this foot to force my body that way. So anything you do with the ground, it's all looking at Newton's law, it's a reaction force.
Yep.
So I'm going to load the ground in that direction and push my muscles that way, so it sends me this way. Think about a sprinter in the blocks at 100 meters. He's pushing backwards to launch him forwards.
Yeah,
so when we look at what goes on with the ground, it's always we're trying to create the load in the floor and then ride the reaction.
That's absolutely brilliant. I think that's one of the things that most people, and myself probably, you don't consider that when you look at other sports, but it's absolutely true, isn't it, science, which is you push against something to create a force effectively, and I guess in the golf swing what we're using is the ground to push against to try and generate power.
So what we tend to look at when you look at sort of 2D video, or even 3D really, but you're looking at the segments and how the body's moving, kinetic chains, and the kind of the kinematics of how the body's going through the golf shot.
Yep.
But it's there's got to be a force imparted on your body or on your muscles and the joints to create that movement. So what we're kind of doing is, if we want the body to move in a certain way, we need to load the ground or load a force in a certain direction to create that movement. So we're kind of getting, I guess, the kinetics or the groundwork is one step ahead of the kinematics, but they link in together really well.
I'm really excited. This is going to be a really good lesson. Hopefully we're going to have a good hour. I'm going to get the impression I'm going to be knackered at the end of this, Todd, as well.
We're going to put you through your paces.
I hope you're going to learn a lot along the way. So we go and have a go?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool. Right, so got the FlightScope running on the right hand side.
Yep.
Got a view of all your shots. Okay, let's have a look at kind of where they ended up roughly. Got the one outlier, but generally, like I say, not too bad for target, but we saw slightly right miss.
Yep.
For yourself, as you go through here, you've got a tendency for your path to be right, which you described to me earlier, so you tend to sort of feel like you swing across it a little bit.
Which is, it's good that the feel is real.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And that's an important thing, because quite often it can be very different.
Yeah.
So what you feel like you're doing is different. So it's a good starting place. Actually, your feeling for what is going on is accurate.
Yep.
Okay, so as an average, 4.7 or 5 degrees right, then your face to target, which with this number in here, okay, is generally also slightly down the right.
Okay.
Now, you were kind of describing how you really like, if we said, let's take this shot here, for example, let's bring up this screen. It's always quite a cool one to look at.
Yeah,
this is how your golf club was traveling through that shot. Yeah, so this one would have been a nice one for you. So as that club comes through, okay, club path, 7.4 to the right.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the direction the club's going.
Yep.
Face is halfway roughly between the path and the target. So that's one for you that would be your nice one. You've hit down on the golf ball to get your nice strike.
Yep.
Tack angle 7.8 down. Okay, that's the one that is going to be starting just right of target. The path's a little bit further right than that, and it's going to be a nice shot that comes back to target.
Yep.
So potentially that's your best shot, as long as that face number's okay.
Yeah.
Now really, for consistency for you, if you were trying to reduce the possibility for curve out of those, we'd look to maybe try and halve those. Other thing we'll look at here again with that, generally as you get a more cross path, you also get a steeper angle of attack.
Okay.
That's another thing for you that can potentially cause issues, especially when you were saying about the height of your shots.
Yeah.
Now, if you're coming across it and you're hitting down on it quite a lot, you're de-lofting the club quite a bit.
Yep.
Now it's going to be much harder for you to get that initial launch. So if we look at your swing and how you go back, so you start off now when you've got these rolling scales here, okay, that's telling you what pressure is in what part of your foot. So we've got side to side.
Yep.
For you, trail foot, lead foot.
Yep.
Toes, heels, toes, heels.
Yep.
All right. So as you would go into your backswing, as we all do, the heavy end of the golf club is on the club head end.
Yep.
That swings back. So of course it's going to drag your interaction with the ground, drag your pressure into your trail side. So you load up, and the good thing here is you load the maximum amount of your pressure away from the target here at left arm parallel.
Okay.
Which is actually a really good trait.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
There's something good in there then.
Yeah, definitely. So what you'll see a lot of tendency is, and this is always a big thing to remember, is that we're often told with golf, and we tend to split the swing into two movements: backswing, downswing.
Yep.
Now the problem is, if we do that, if I swing 100% or 95% of my weight onto my back foot at the top of the backswing, the ball's all the way over there.
Yep.
And I think about throwing a ball, okay? As I'm drawing that ball back, I'm already starting to step forward.
Yeah, yeah.
That creates a stretch phase in your body, which creates more power. But it also means if I'm solid on the floor, I can use my lead foot to torque the ground to create power.
Yep.
Now, if I am loaded miles away from the golf ball, right on my trail foot, I've got to get all the way back here before I can get on the gas.
Yep.
So what you tend to find is, in a lot of sort of the good ball strikers and a good tendency, is that pretty much by this part of the swing, okay, that's kind of where you would ideally max out your movement away from the target, and then you're already starting to move into it to get going.
And they talk about that again, just from watching a lot of golf, and sort of some of the times when you see them in the, I know the kind of sky zone or whatever it is, a lot of these golfers talk about feeling like they're starting the downswing before they finish the backswing, right? And I guess that's what you're trying to describe there, is that feeling of that load shift kind of while you're still completing the backswing.
Yeah, AMG Golf, great YouTube channel and Instagram to follow. They call it a recentering move. Okay. The way I like to think about it is, especially in the backswing, and the term I often use, let me grab a golf club here, is that you want to think about, rather than having a backswing move and a downswing move, okay, again, this is a heavy end. Butch Harmon always said the weight in your feet or the pressure in the ground goes in the direction the club's travelling.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you looked at the golf club from face on, I'll do it this way so the camera can see it.
I'll stand out your way, just give you a bit of space as well.
Think of it this way. When I make my backswing, the club is moving away from the target.
Yep.
But if you watch the club head, by this part of the swing, where's it now moving?
Well, the arc is now coming back above you,
now going back towards the target. So this is the heavy end. So we want to pretty much, our weight follows that. We're trying to control that. So as we move away, we move into our trail leg. But at this point, the weight is now going to go over my head towards the target. So that's going to drag me into my lead side. Now, as I start to get into my lead side earlier, I can then get on the gas earlier, use this foot to push, create more clearance, and deliver the golf club with speed. Okay.
Even watching you do that in slow motion, by the way, Todd, it looks like an athletic, powerful golf swing move, and you're doing it in super slow motion, right? Because I can see that as a move I see elite golfers on TV make all the time, and you're just showing it in slow motion to get the feel of it. Yeah,
and when you think about how the body works, we're going to create power. We've got lots of slings across our body, lots of sort of fibres that stretch, okay? Now, if that golf club is going backwards, it's got momentum, I've got to create a force in the opposite direction to slow it down, change direction. So that moment becomes your stretch phase, okay? So now you create that elastic spring back into the golf ball. And so what we're saying there is that pattern of how you load the weight going back, or the pressure going back earlier, and then start to, as we finish off the backswing, you'll see it start to come back towards the centre. Has a slow move back to the centre. Okay. Now as you start down, your trail foot is pushing, okay? It's trying to get you in place early enough. Now, one thing you're going to see here, and this can be where your strikes can kind of go off a little bit, and we're going to look at it a little bit more into kind of club face positioning, because it's not all about just how the ground moves, it's also about what's going on with your body above it. Okay, it's kind of chicken egg, which one affects which. They both affect each other, but which one's the cause and which one's the effect?
I was saying, what's the kind of compensating factor? What's your body doing to try and allow you to hit that golf ball because of something bad that's happening elsewhere, right?
Yeah. Now, an interesting thing here you'll see with this trace is you described to me earlier about early extension. Okay, it being something that you'd worked on a little bit before with a coach before. Okay. Now, what you'll see here is, can you see how that dot takes a loop? Around. Okay, so when we're talking about if yourself left-handed golfer going back, as you go back to here, the first move in your feet is out to the toes.
Yeah, you can see that as well on the pressure. I think there was a point where it was almost 100 to 0 on I think my lead foot on the toes, I think it was.
That's
almost,
it. So you go, now again, you're going out to your toes. So as you're coming down to the golf ball here, can you see how at the moment you're still pushing hard through your lead toe to try and create some clearance? All right, now for me, if I'm working into my lead foot, the ball of the foot is going to push my hip back and out of the way. So as it works with the ground, that will have an element of pressure in it. But certainly, again, if we think about timing, I'd want to be on that lead toe early. Now by kind of lead arm parallel, I want to be working back and around towards the heel more to create the hip moving back and to create that clearance. Rather than if I stay in my toe for too long, I now can't get out the way, so I've got to stand up to create space, and then I lose control of the club face. And again, that might then be the cause potentially of the thins and the kind of feel like I'm exiting early because I'm standing up on it almost. Body rising, lose control of the club face, hit where it turns into the pull hook rather than the fade. Okay, so that can all come from that same kind of trace. Now again, there's a lot of good players that have that move, but again, it becomes timing. So if we bring you to impact here, you'll see that by impact here, we've lost a little bit of shaft lean actually. There's a tiny bit there. Okay. But at the same point, your pressure is definitely moving towards your lead foot. But it's very much stuck out in the toe. Everything. It's 92.8. We've got a big storm coming in. It's coming out in your toe, pretty much.
That is hurricane toes.
Yeah, that is, So if we look at how you're going to move through, now again, if you're here, just do an exercise for me. Set yourself up as if you're going to hit a shot. Okay. Get yourself down to impact. So, okay. Now, I want you to put, at the moment, you have got... I can even feel it even now. 92% of your push or pressure in the ground is still in your toe at impact. Okay, so to put what you feel like 92%. Funny, when you asked me to naturally get there, I got there and I was like, this is all in my toe. Before, even subconsciously just putting myself into that position, it was all toe. Sometimes all this is just creating awareness more than anything else. If you're there, now get yourself into that lead toe, okay, for impact. Now try and turn the club through, keeping your weight there. It's hard. I'm stuck, aren't you? I'm stuck there. Okay. I can't go past there without, it's crazy. So now go halfway down for me. So go to the top of your swing. Okay. Load that lead toe, 92% now. Okay. Bring it down to shaft parallel. Now from here, think of that rolling scale on the board there. Try and move it from 92% in the toe to 92% in the heel as you deliver the golf club. And now try and make a swing through. So you actually do a proper slow motion? Just make a swing. Go to the top. As you start down, load 92% in your toe, what you feel. But make sure it's done by this part of the swing. Okay. Now from here, try and swing the club through, feeling like you'd go from 92% lead toe to 92% lead heel. Okay. And let the club follow you. Right, okay. That's so alien. So it feels like a clearing effect, doesn't it? Yeah, it's so alien. It really feels alien, like almost difficult to do because I've probably never done it in 5 years of being a golfer. So they're trying to get out of the way. Straight away that you can see that from before I was stuck there, or here, wasn't I? As soon as you try and get it into the heel, it's easy to get that club through. So what you'll start to be able to create with that is that as you come through, you can start to use the clearance of the left hip working backwards. Rotating through, and then you can stabilize your lead arm, your release, your hands on the way through to have a more consistent release pattern, rather than as you come down being stuck out here, and then all you lose, you're trying your hardest to get out of the way. The only way you can do it is to then have the trail side jump forward to try and give yourself some turn to get out of the way. Let me give you a drill to give you a feel for that. So pop on the mat there. So a lot of the time I find the best ways to actually get this is I use bands quite a lot. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to put a golf club behind your sort of base of your bum, back of your legs. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a band on this end. Hold on to the band for me. Cool. Right. So now from there, go to the top of your backswing. Okay, so it'll be in and then there. Good. Now from here, again, load the toe as you start down. So it'll be there. Now from here, turn through and stretch the band.
Oh God.
So you're getting pulled towards me.
Yeah.
So you got to now push your hip backwards.
Get back.
So do it again, stay in posture.
Back.
So from there, push up, back and around. Good.
Okay, still on the toe, but I'm trying to push it.
So you will be on the toe with this because I'm pulling you this way.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is, again, remember the ground works in opposites.
Yeah.
If I pull you into your bad habit,
I've got to push.
you've got to push yourself out of it. So your muscles get trained as how to work into the new pattern.
Yeah, that's even after a few, you can straight away. I'm trying to go right. How do I get from up there into there?
That's it.
Even after a few, you get a bit of balance, don't you? Straight away doing
your
it.
body learns. So you do it a couple of times. The first few, I'll pull you over. You lose your balance. After 2 or 3 goes, you'll start to get a feel for it. So now I start to add a bit more.
I've got to push more. Yeah.
That's it.
Push in.
Good. Nice. So now have a sort of practice with me again. So you've trained the muscles with that feeling. That's it. So now you can feel that clearing move.
Yeah. So it's still got to push off that toe.
That's it.
Okay. Definitely, I can definitely feel it moving. Probably not as much as it needs to, but it's definitely, if you measured it, I'm sure it would be
we just got to start that movement through. So our job here, certainly from the look of your trace, is that as we come through, we've got to try and get the feeling that as you come through, you load the lead foot, but we work around towards the heel. It doesn't have to go straight to the heel. We've got to use that push, if you like, the ground to get your lead hip working up, back and around. Certainly what you'd see here, if we just show you on the screen, let's look at the swing from a different view. Flip, we'll look at it down the line. It's really interesting how that tendency, again, I'm sure we all build up muscle memory, we all have natural tendencies in our kind of natural physique and things, but it's amazing how difficult it is to make that change. Even with you showing me with that banded drill, which it was much easier to feel it then, but take it away and I'm already going, I've got to try and recreate that. It's so hard to change a pattern of a lifetime, I guess. But the thing as well, and this is where teaching comes in, and drills like that with bands or training aids, how do you teach a feeling? Because what it feels like to me is different to what it feels like to you.
Absolutely.
So if we can give you a restriction or a training aid or something that you've got to get in that position, you can think, well, I feel that more here, and I feel that more in my hip, or I feel that. So you can then link into that feeling.
Absolutely.
Rather than me saying, well, for me it feels like this, so everyone's got to feel that.
I totally agree.
It could be different.
Totally agree.
If you've got a habit, an underlying habit that you've had for ages, you've tried loads of different ways of trying to get out of it, there's got to be something that's going on that's still happening that's causing that trait. So now the ground interaction for me has been the biggest eye-opener, and for a lot of clients, eye-opener is saying, well, this is the reason why. Now, unless you change this in your interaction with the ground, because we know the movement into the ground, the force into the ground creates the movement above the ground. Okay, so if you're still moving or interacting with the ground, I want to say poorly, but it's probably the wrong word, but then you're going to struggle to create those movements. Okay, so now what we're going to look at here is, we know for today, again, we don't fix everything in one lesson, but we can get to the sort of the crux of it sort of straight away. Now, the thing I want to look at here for that early extension, for that movement, okay, and for that rotation is how we're going to approach this loop, if you like, in your trace, movement out towards the toes to help you get in towards the heels more. Okay, that's going to give you a more consistent delivery, help you stabilize the face more. All right,
perfect.
So we look on here, we look at your setup. For me, okay, one of the biggest starting points here for you is actually postural. Okay, because again, how you set up, how you balance yourself set up is going to change how you move. All right, golf would be easy if we could play it from here. We can align all our body joints and all our segments fine. We've got to tilt and find it from the floor. Okay, now what you'll see here, if I draw a line, we'll see same movement. It's that lead hip going forwards and then trail hip goes forwards to find it. Now what I want to see here is, I'm now going to put a line on your hip bone or your sort of centre of your pelvis.
Yep, almost level with the back of my heels it is there as well, isn't it, at the moment?
So now, if we're going to get a balanced position, we want our joints to be better aligned.
Okay.
All right. What you're going to find is, if your tailbone, hips are behind your heels,
yep,
the counterbalance of that will be your chest will be quite a long way forward.
Right. Okay.
So when we put a line through here, we'd be looking for balls of feet, front of knee, back of shoulder. And you'll see as you go through here, it kind of comes through mid-back rather than through armpit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now again, your body is always going to try and balance itself, especially when you're swinging a weight around your body. Yeah. I liken the golf swing quite a lot to a hammer thrower in the Olympics. Yeah. Big weight, okay. As he turns and swings around, we're just trying to balance ourselves to sort of project.
Release.
So sort of to send something down the range or project something. Now, the interesting thing here is, if you look at where your hip or centre of pelvis is located in relation to your ankles, it's a long way behind. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's get you to impact. Can you see how when you come down to impact, let's go to here, your body has tried to get your centre of pelvis back over your ankles. Yeah. All right. So what we want to do is get you there to start with. Okay. So you haven't got to go and try and find it. Yeah. All right. So realistically in posture, let's bring in, great example, got a few videos on here. Models, let's chuck you against probably one of the best swingers in the world. Let's chuck Adam in there.
It's the first and only time ever, Todd, I think I've been going to be
just to let you know, it's you on the left. So centre of pelvis, okay, here, comes down through the ankle better. Yeah. Okay, now what you'll also see there is, when we look at that postural line, ball of foot, front of knee, armpit. Yep. So he's going to be better balanced through the swing. So as he swings through here, again, we have that sort of traditional sort of tailbone tush line. As you go back, see his right hip working backwards. Yeah. Okay, so that red line is still through the centre of his pelvis. Yeah. As he settles into transition, the left hip comes back to meet the right. Yeah, unbelievable. So he's still in the centre. That's a great loading and also shallowing move. Yep. Okay, from there. Any time that you'll get this way, bum comes under, body goes up, you'll steepen the shaft to try and reach the golf ball.
Makes perfect sense, yeah. All right. Yep.
As he comes down and through, you'll see how his body can stay balanced. And again, central pelvis in the ankle, that's how he's holding his posture.
That is, again, putting the two next to each other, of course, one's making millions a year and one's, you know, trying to film a YouTube video, right? But that is just so chalk and cheese. You're probably, you know, in actual reality, they're talking probably 6 to 8 inches difference there, which is just huge, isn't it? It's not centimetres, this is inches of difference between two people.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and this is just how you move, because remember, your tailbone line starts here, yeah, and like you say, ends there. Yeah. So we've got, if we look at back to impact, looking at the yellow line here, the difference of how much we move off of that. Yeah. And really, it's your body trying to balance itself.
Perfect.
As you swing. So what we're looking at now is the biggest thing for today, especially using the mat. We're going to look at how we try and just reduce the amount that comes out. Yeah. Okay. We've spoken a little bit about how the toe is a good thing, but it works to push the lead hip out the way
into the heel.
Okay. And then also what we're going to look at is making that trace work slightly more through the centre of the feet.
Perfect.
All right.
And that posture bit, then that bit at the start, how do I get into that kind of more, because I guess I'm probably more like this at the moment, and I've got to be more.
So what we're going to look at here, the best way to think of it is grab a cane. Think of it simply, seam on your trousers. Okay. Roughly going to be kind of centre of pelvis. Yep. Good enough. Okay. Think of that being over your ankle. Mm-hmm. Okay. Take your posture. So if I did that for the camera in here, you'd look at seam of the trouser, ankle joint. Okay. And then that line would trace itself back up to the back of my armpit. Yep. Now from there, as I set up, arms hang pretty neutral, and I'm in a good setup position. But now I'm balanced to be able to because remember, your hips, okay, aren't round, they're oblong. Yep. So as I turn, if I rotate from the middle of my pelvis, my right hip should go back and behind me. Yep. Okay, if I turn from the center. Yep. Rather than, we've got two joints, right hip, left hip, rather than going turn around the right, then turn around the left, all you end up doing is crabbing towards the ball, rather than turning through the centre post.
I've never seen that explained like that. I think that's brilliant.
Yes, that's generally what kind of happens. We've got to feel like we've got to rotate around the centre of our pelvis, but the hard thing is, like I say, both the joints are either end. Set up, pelvis over ankle. Now from there, the feeling is going to be, we're going to try and get a feeling for how the pelvis works. And I've got another drill for that in a moment. But for a minute, let's just get you set up on there. That's it. So again, build your setup a couple of times. Good. Now again, you're still going to have a bit of knee bend. Perfect. So you're going to be in a better position. You can still have a little bit of, like I say, flexion forwards, but certainly the biggest thing for you to monitor is where your ball of your hip is in relation to your ankle.
More that bit than the top bit, but absolutely. I'm literally, I feel like the first thing I'm trying to do is stop myself from just going and pushing out. So I'm really just trying to almost keep it above it there, which is really interesting because it feels like ball's going to be closer to me. It feels like I'm naturally a bit more upright over it, which I guess is a more powerful lever, I guess, rather than being stuck on top of it.
We just want a more athletic position.
That's perfect. Okay.
Cool. Cool. So let's talk about pelvis movement.
I'm going to move out your way. So
with that, we're going to use a exercise ball or gym ball here. Okay. Now, what I want to do is we're going to use. What I'll do is get you to grip halfway down this, just saves our mirror. Right. So I'm going to put a fit ball behind you. Now with this, you're not going to lean into the wall. Okay. It's just going to be, you take your normal posture. We get our heel and hip line in a good position. All right. And you set yourself up. Now, naturally, as you would make your backswing, okay, rather than thinking of all the weight moves away from the target going back and it moves through, there's our slider. Okay. We said the hip rotates around the middle, so the trail hip has to work back and behind us. All right. So what you're going to feel now is, as you make your backswing, okay, you're going to feel like as you rotate, the ball is going to be geared towards the target slightly. Okay. So as you go back, the ball is geared towards the target. So your left cheek is back on the ball. You're in good tilt. You're in a good posture. Now the key from there is that you've got to get, or the feeling, that your right hip comes back to join the left. Not the fact that the left goes to join the right. Okay? Because you'll see what will happen there. So as we set up here, understanding how the hips work now we're more balanced, we've got left hip gearing the ball slightly towards the target. As you start down, left stays where it is, right comes back to join. And now from there, you can use that pressure in your lead toe to push your lead side back up and around. So now your pelvis is going to be working correctly rather than standing up forwards.
I've got a feeling that you've just made that look really easy. I'm going to give it a go and it's going to be really difficult.
Here we go. So you can put it across your shoulder or hold it halfway down to get a feeling. So again, build your good posture. Okay. So just grip that club right at the bottom of it for me, or halfway down the shaft. That's it. Perfect. Anywhere like that, be fine.
And then as I go back.
So now as you go back, I want to make a couple of back swings. You'll be fine. The club will be short enough. You'll be fine. As you go back, you'll start to feel like, as you make your backswing, that ball is slightly going to be naturally geared towards the target. So all this kind of, we move away from the target going back, all our backswings away, all our backswings through. It's kind of out. We've got to rotate around the centre more. Okay. So as you make a backswing, the ball is geared towards the target. Now from there, your first move has got to be lead hip comes back to join the ball. Now from there, you can feel you're going to use your lead toe to then push the ball up, back and around into your follow through. Okay. So there into, and then join, and then back out the other side. Good.
So that last bit's the hard bit, right?
Yeah, so this is our bit, again, for yourself, because you're used to being stuck out here, it feels hard because you haven't got that movement. But I want you to feel like when you're here, you've got this ball rolling up, back and around. That's it.
Okay. So, get into that posture. There.
So let's go to the top. So what we're going to do now is, that's it. Load into your lead side. There. That's it. And now from there, push, rotate, turn and go. So then from here, we've got more clearance and we can start to be
Yep.
Releasing through the shot better.
So back to there.
Lead side on. And
Push.
then, good. Do it again.
Okay.
But now we're going to keep your head in the center. Good. Back in, and now push up, turn.
Turn, yeah.
That's
Sorry,
it.
yeah.
There you go.
Turn. That's that turn. I still want to stall there, don't I?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Good. Into the lead side. Push, rotate. Nice. So just get a feeling, just like I say, just run through that for a little bit. Just feel how the pelvis works. And again, visualizing that you're turning around the middle of your pelvis, not round each hip.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Not feeling like it's a two, like you go back to that crabbing bit.
Yeah.
Not being a two thing, it's a middle. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
Do
it's
that
so
again.
alien as a move though to me.
So let's do that again. So hold yourself still, right, get yourself ready to go.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to film one so you can kind of see what it looks like.
Okay.
Go for it. So what we're going to look at first of all is posture. So let's put a line in here through the ball of your foot.
Yeah.
So ball of foot in through here. Now we go ball of the foot. Okay.
Yeah.
So posture's much, much better.
It's not perfect still, is it? But it's better.
Much better. Look at the difference in the knee bend and
Yeah.
the hips. Okay. So now as we go from here, we look at middle of the pelvis, getting in towards inside the heel,
Yeah.
rather than middle of the pelvis, really kind of getting outside the back.
Yeah.
So much better setup straight away.
Yeah.
Now we know the old one. As you would go back, let's do a bum line on there again. Okay, we'll do one on here. As you would go back on the right, now we've spoken about it, you'll really start to see it now. You'll see that left side pulling forwards, not
Yeah.
right side going back.
Yeah.
Now you've made a big move off that line already. So you say
Yeah.
early extension starts here.
It's
It is
super
early.
super early.
Super early. Okay, so it's happening actually in your backswing rather than just in your downswing.
Yeah. It's
Right.
happening at kind of like lead arm parallel on the way back, isn't it?
And what you can get sometimes is, I'd call it like a fake turn, if you
Yeah.
like, because rather than having loading right side back,
Yeah.
you got left side forward. So when you look at this, knees have changed flex, you've got some tilt in there, but we haven't got the depth.
Yeah.
Now if we look on the left, again, club positions are going to change a little bit because we just messed around with a little club and we've got a ball behind us, but look how now you'd create some depth.
Yeah.
So camera obviously moves around a tiny bit, but there's some depth into your backswing. Now as you start down, you come down to reset that, and now you explode through. We've got left hip working back and we've kept our posture better.
Yeah.
Now, one of the great things with the BodiTrak as well, okay, is that, and this is where it becomes what's known as biofeedback. All right. So I'm going to be filming my phone.
Yep.
I'm going to put that just for a couple of practice swings.
Okay.
I'm going to put that on the floor, okay, in front of you.
Okay.
Now
cool.
that is a live feed
Of what's going on. Okay.
So again, if you lose the feet in there, hold yourself still and it will
Right.
find you. Now what you're going to try and do is, now what I want you to react to there is, you know how your pressure trace had a loop to it?
Yep.
I want to just make a few practice swings with this feeling. So you get yourself set, posture's good. You're understanding that pelvic turn and tilt.
Yep.
And just try and get that line to work side to side more through the middle of your swing.
Okay.
Through the middle of the feet.
Right.
So just watching the screen, getting a feedback for what that feels like. That's it. Again, do it at normal speed,
Okay.
because otherwise it will change around.
Okay, let's try and do it.
So just all half speed, slow swings.
Yeah.
Just looking at how that moves.
Still forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, get that posture right. Over there.
Better. So
Much
what I should
better.
do is probably that way, and it will link into your feet better then, so you'll be able to relate that.
That one
right to
actually
left.
felt more straight though, that last one.
That's it, that's what we want. So through the middle, so good.
Okay, there.
Brilliant.
Much straighter.
Yeah, much better, and starting to progress into the heel better.
Yeah.
Good.
So get that posture right into there. It's certainly not loopy. It might be a little bit forward still, but it's not as loopy, is it?
But what this does is this is what's known as biofeedback. So this, you straight away you can look at a live view of what's going on in your interaction with the ground, and start to get, when we said about a feeling, how do you train a feeling? Here we go, you're training it yourself. I'll go for a cup of coffee, I'm obsolete now.
So that was a little bit loopy because I've tried to add a bit of speed to it then.
Yeah, but you always have a tendency. The thing for us is now, you will have that tendency, and that loopiness, if you like, will be a bit of a toe load, if you like. Yeah. But as long as we start to get it back moving around early enough, you'll start to clear.
Yep. Okay. Posture again.
Good. That's it. It's arcing around. So good posture. Remember, it's trail hip works back and behind you. So sometimes you can think about your left pocket working back behind you. Okay. And then as you go down, right pocket comes back to level up. And then right pocket goes back behind you.
Okay. Let's get into that posture again.
Good.
Still a little bit, but it seems like it's not as big as it was. An hour.
Like we said, you're always going to have characteristics and traits. We just got to reduce them a little bit, because remember we said about the FlightScope there, if we could halve those numbers,
that's perfect.
We'd be fine. So if we can halve the trace potentially, we can get closer to it. Good.
Much better, isn't it?
Get a feel for it.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Let's hit some.
Okay.
Much better trace. This is where you'll get consistency. Let's have a look at that club path number in the last 8-9 shots. Okay. 1.6 right, 3.2, 0.2, 2.9, 2.3, 3.0, 2.7.
Yeah.
It's near damn it exactly the same.
It's actually better than half. It was 7 at worst. It was 6s and 7s.
But what we're saying there is your club path now has become super consistent at 2 or 3 degrees right. And you wanted to hit a little fade. That's spot on. Now we just look at, like I say, how we just deliver the face to it. And you're fine. So what I want to do is, let me fire this up on the screen. So can you see the difference straight away in the trace? All right.
The one on the top left looks nicer.
Yeah. So what did we say we wanted? We wanted it to work more down the midline and work more towards the heel. Okay.
So the tracer line there compared to there is amazing. But even to your point, 68 in the toe, 32 in the heel versus 92 in the toe, 8 in the heel. So I'm feeling like I'm really struggling with it, but I've made a 1/3 difference.
And the thing with it is, like anything, the golf swing is a fluid motion. So it's same as video. It's always dangerous to look at just still images and positions. Okay, because it's how we move through those positions. All right.
But that's where the trace helps, because the trace is showing you the line of the whole swing, right? And you can see that pattern.
How it's moving. So again, we're linked in here. Those swings are linked. So as you make your backswing, you make the same good move away. But now as we come down, look at the first move into your downswing. On the right video, it's a loop around to then try and get back. Okay. On the left video, it's a dead straight line across. And then as you get to here, that line goes shooting straight into the heel. Whereas we're still stuck out in the toe working our way around.
Crikey.
So how you're getting there is very different. Now that movement in the body shows, if that white dot is moving through the middle of your feet, remember your mass and your pressure is working in the middle of your feet better. Whereas if that dot loops out to the toes and back round, hey, this is going to follow. All right. So when we look at, again, it's not saying that early extension is going to get fixed in one lesson, but what it is saying is, if you're more balanced with the middle of your feet, you'll be more balanced above that, so you've got a better chance.
That data point
makes it worthwhile, because you're sitting there thinking, it feels so sort of consciously new, it feels difficult, and then you see that and go, I can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get closer to where I need to be. And that gives you that kind of confidence to trust it again and want to do it again now. And
yeah, so we've got the data of the club path saying that the path has improved massively.
Yeah.
Okay, path is now consistently 2 or 3 degrees right, which is perfect for your little fade. You've got, again, the club face of target is going to change. The shots are coming out more online, which they're going to be because there's less going on. And now we're showing the information that actually your interaction with the ground is much more consistent, because again, even the trace is a signature for that shot. Now this signature is a little bit more flamboyant than this one. Okay, we're more initials over here rather than Lord so-and-so of wherever on the right hand side. Okay?
And I assume, again, I'm trying to understand everything you just taught me then in the last bit, that one on the left with the trace that's quite, I guess, tighter, less variables in the swing, less opportunity for things to go wrong.
Yeah, and I'd look at that. If I look at a trace that's moving all over the place and one that's moving very calmly, consistently in a certain direction, the calm one is balance, the squiggly one is loss of balance. Because your feet are fighting all the time to try and rebalance yourself. Whereas if it's calm and cool and moving in the same direction, everything's pretty happy.
Love it.
All right, so there straight away, like I say, strike consistency, that's always going to come with it. Some really good shots of both of them. But what I'm looking at, when we look at, again, getting your handicap down, keeping your improvement going, it's bringing the bad shots in, not just about getting the good ones every now and again. We've got to bring the bad ones in. So now if your club path is better, your balance is better, your trace is better, then your shot's going to get better. Again, for today, like as a wrap up, all I wanted to really focus on is that understanding of where your seam line is in your trouser in relation to your heel. Not saying you've got to have straight legs, still a bit of knee bend, but get those 2 joints lined up better. From there, you've got a little bit of forward flexion in the body, arms can hang. There's my setup. Now I'm ready to move. Now from there, the idea is we've got to imagine a kind of a line under the middle of our pelvis. We want to get, if we're going to turn, this right hip goes back and behind us. Okay. So then left side comes to join, left side goes around. That's for right-handed golfer, obviously.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Just to wrap up then, guys, thanks very much, Todd, for today. Really, really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching this, learned something yourself, seen the benefits of having a lesson with someone like Todd and using a BodiTrak mat alongside technology you may have used before in terms of FlightScope and things, putting those 2 or 3 data sets together and seeing just how in the space of a few shots and a few sort of drills together, we've managed to change my path, change the way that I move my pelvis, albeit a lot to still work on, and actually change my posture as well. And I'm really excited now to go and hit a few balls, take this out onto the golf course and see if we can get that handicap down a bit further.
And the great thing we can do is, like I say, with the mat, is we can take it out onto the golf course so you can see how that holds up on the course.
I'd love to do it. I'd love to come back in the future, maybe go away and take it away, come back in the future to do a second session, maybe we take it out on the course.
We can take it and we can look at, like I say, different aspects of it as well, but certainly see how that trait is blended in, and then, like I say, what happens when you've got out of bounds down the right or any other external factors or environmental factors that come into it as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Cool.